Hey everybody, it's Sarah Marie Thompson from wildandcreative.com, and this is a Wild and Creative Masterclass, fun ways to increase your personal power and everyday magic. And today I have with me Suzanne Adams. She's an author, motivational speaker, and life purpose consultant. You might have seen her popping up all over the internet, all over Facebook, because she's got a brand new book out called Musings of an Earth Angel. It's the first of a trilogy, and it's a fictional book series about miraculous spiritual awakenings of a 20-something girl who travels the world to 7 powerful spots to learn about her true identity.
Hi, thank you for having me.
That sounds awesome. Can we I just want to talk about your book like a tiny little bit here at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because it sounds really interesting. You said it's a fictional book, so there's not a lot of fictional books like out there right now, I feel, that are about your soul's true calling. So I'm excited to hear.
Yeah, so it's fictional. I wanted to write a book that enabled people to tap into their own divinity, to learn about life purpose, to learn about self-love, to learn about divine communication and soul expansion in a fun and magical way. And, I love self-development books and self-help books. And I know a lot of people that do, but sometimes they get boring. And there are a lot of people that won't even pick those books up. So my intention with writing Musings of an Earth Angel was really to get people to read a book that's fun and magical, like almost like a Twilight or Hunger Games, but that has deeper meaning and higher purpose to it. And it will really ignite your consciousness to a new level without even you being aware of it in just a really fun way.
Right. I bet that it is grabbing a lot of people's attention in the sense that it's not probably like a how-to book, but people are really learning from the lessons in the book.
Exactly. Well, what happens is people message me and they're like, did you write this book about me? Because the girl has a spiritual awakening, and then she learns that she can communicate with angels, and she ends up traveling the world. And meanwhile, she's dealing with all the negative people telling her that she'll never do this, and that she needs to come back and get grounded and what it is that she was doing before, and all this stuff. And then there's just a lot of fantastical elements to it too. So absolutely, people are reading it and learning so much, but they don't feel like they're learning.
So it's the first of a trilogy. So the next couple books, are they like, how did this book end? Is she still on a journey and she's not going to finish for a little while, or is it a little bit different, or how's it move forward?
With a cliffhanger. So basically over there's a few different love interests, soul partner, twin flame interests that are interwoven throughout the story. And essentially what happens is the second book is really just almost her learning to own the divinity and own her powers and own all her magical gifts. So that where the first book is really about her learning that she has them and figuring out how to harness her abilities. And
then the third book is conquering her magical gifts.
The third book is like a whole bunch of stuff that I don't really want to get into at the moment.
Okay. No problem. So you're obviously a very creative, magical, intuitive person. Like, you can just tell from obviously this book that you've written and just you're the way you are. Can you let's talk a little bit about energy. I love to talk about that in this kind of masterclass setting, because there are so many people I find, and you probably find this too, in just day to day, that it's hard to believe, but they're really just getting into the idea of energy and manifesting and creating their life. Like, it's really just a crazy new concept for them that you can create every moment of your life, right? And so can you tell me a little bit about when that started for you and how you really implemented into your day-to-day?
Of course. So in retrospect, I had a few guiding lights that I didn't really know about, at the moment. So even in the story, in my book, Musings of an Earth Angel, Samantha, her first power spot is Sedona. Well, for me, I was in Sedona in 2011, and I met with a shamanic astrologer, and he started talking about past lives and life purpose and, some of the stuff that is in line with energy, but I didn't really understand that. So that he was kind of the first person that got me really thinking about us being energy, us being more than a physical body and us being like a soul. So then I ended up having like a session at a spa in Texas with a woman that did a chakra clearing. And I didn't even know what chakra clearings were shortly after the Sedona trip. And she started the same thing. She kind of triggered me on a subconscious level and really piqued my interest. And then a couple years later, I got to a point where I was really depressed for the first time in my life. Like I was coming off a series of 3 failed relationships, and I couldn't understand why it wasn't working out for me. And I'd always been a happy person. And even if you knew me at that moment, I would have perceived to be happy. But what was happening is my insides were just slowly dying, it felt like. And all I could think was there has to be more to life than this. There has to be more to life. Like I know that I was born for more. And then I started to feel like I was just going through the motions. Like I was waking up, going to work, paying bills, and coming back, coming home, going to bed. And I just knew that there was more. So I got really triggered to become obsessed with studying happiness, studying energy. I learned about life purpose. And it was like, once I did that, it was like my vision went from here to here. And I realized, oh my gosh, there's so much more to this. And I was going to inspirational talk after inspirational talk, traveling on retreats, studying, learning. And then I realized that I can see energy and I can tap into all of that. And it's so powerful. And you're right, because most people don't even understand the principles of energy, or that our bodies are energy, or even that our thoughts and feelings vibrate at a certain energy. So that's actually a lot of I teach about at my talks, is how we do have so much power, and how when we can really start to tap into that in a new way, we can create whatever it is that we want.
What do you do on days where you feel, and everybody feels it, so come on, like down, you know, like grumpy, you just like want to be grumpy for a while or whatever. And what do you do to help you kind of shift out of that? Or do you like to, because I know I do this too sometimes, because it's not an everyday thing, I almost like to kind of like stay in it for a moment and observe like what's going on before I shift out of it, right?
So I waffle between the two. Like sometimes I'm like, let's get out of this. And like, you know, I'll go to the gym, go to a yoga class, like do something physical to shake it off. Or I'll start to like go to a place of gratitude. So with whatever is happening, I start to call in, like list in my mind mentally everything over the past week or 2 weeks that it's been really positive that's happened in my life. Or even if it's just something as simple as like, it's cold outside, but it's warm in here, you know, or like in the night, a nice bathtub. But I get what you're saying too, because sometimes if you do that and you shake it off too quickly and you don't really witness whatever's up for you, then it does come back. So what I do what I notice is the more I'm growing and the more I'm expanding, the more the stuff starts to come to the surface. So I've started to actually flip it. And if it's like I'm feeling like crappy or off, or I'm feeling the expansion, then I'm like, oh my gosh, this must mean amazing things are about to happen. Yeah. So just kind of being able to flip it, and depending on where you are in this journey, like if you're just in a really, really bad day, then start to grab the next highest thought. So you know, at least if something, whatever you think happens bad to you, like at least such and such didn't. So for example, if your car gets totaled, at least you're walking out of it. Or, you know, if you're in the hospital with a broken leg, at least you're alive. Or whatever it is, like find the silver lining and reach for the higher thought.
I know my husband always bugs me because like I'll be complaining about something like very minor and he'll be like, oh, is that a first world problem? And I'll be like, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how you see yourself as an abundance magnet.
So I think that we all have the ability and the potential to be an abundance magnet. And I think so much of it is in mindset. And I think abundance, of course, means dollars and money, but it also means feeling good. And it also means opportunities. And it also means thriving and doing what you were born to do. So I believe to have an abundant life, it's really, really important to line up with your life purpose. Because to be abundant, you can have all the money in the world, and if you're not fulfilled from the inside out, it doesn't matter. It's not going to do anything for you. That being said, I do believe that abundance and money is freedom and can help, and everyone should have it and can have it, and there are easy ways to get it. But if you're not in tune with who you were born to be and what it is that you're born to do, then you're never really going to be fulfilled in that heart-centered space. And I believe if you're not aligned with that, then it's really, really hard to live an abundant life.
We've talked about in prior sessions on this masterclass about really like finding your soul alignment and what you're really here to do and what the most fulfilling and happy acts are like for you. And so everybody has a different answer, right? I mean, they're generally the same, but everybody has kind of a different answer. For you, obviously, I feel like maybe you are, if not there, but on a very strong path to your soul's true calling now. And what was the shift that you kind of felt when you were in a whole other career, right? Or a whole other life, essentially, right?
I think awareness was the most powerful thing for me, because I don't think it matters so much what you're doing on the day-to-day basis. You can be aligned with your soul and be in a corporate world. In fact, we need light leaders in the corporate world. What matters is the attitude and the presence that you bring to that. So, I always talk about being the light, and you hear being the light. And when you're in alignment with your soul, it doesn't mean you have to quit your job and go get this, like become a spiritual entrepreneur and all that. Yes, of course, a lot of people do that. And of course that may happen. But what's really important, I believe, is to get to a place of feeling good and to get to a place of awareness and take the tools that you have and do things in a way that feel good and move in a way that feels good. And you'll be shown the way. When you're in alignment, doors start to open, and it doesn't really matter where the abundance comes from or what it is that happens for you. So yes, I do believe I'm in full alignment with my purpose. And for me, it was about the awareness of life purpose, the courage to go after it, and getting myself in places to find community, high vibe, like-minded friends, and people that were going to be support me, because there are a lot of people that are very unaware. And if you don't surround yourself with people that are going to support you and elevate you and say, go girl, you got this, then it's going to be a little bit harder. So does that answer your question?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I was just like thinking about when you're talking about support and community and like-minded people, and how I don't know if this is too personal, but how has it been for you with family and friends, living a very corporate lifestyle, moving into a more light worker lifestyle, which is very different, and it's very different for family and friends to grasp the idea of, right, and kind of understand. Did you find that it was a smooth transition, or did you still have some people being like, what?
No, still to this day, there are people that knew me before. They're like, what? She's like preaching now, even though I'm not preaching, but that's just kind of like,
yeah.
I mean, in a way I am, but
you have a message. You're just sharing a message. Yeah.
I'm sharing very passionately and loudly a message. So it was tough for me. It was a big struggle, to be honest. I didn't have many spiritual friends. I was certainly not. I mean, I grew up going to church, but not like spiritual in the way that we think of it now. And
right.
So I always had a connection to God. Like that's the same. But I was not tapped into this whole other level that I'm tapped into now. And it was scary, and I didn't have the tools. And that's one of the main reasons I wrote my book, is because I believe that we're in the middle of a worldwide spiritual awakening, and this is happening to people in their awakening, and they have no idea how to handle it or how to deal with it or who to go to. And I thought at the very least, if people pick up this book, then it gives them the tools, and they can start to find a community and a tribe. So for me, I was terrified. I was scared. My parents, like I tried to tell them once that I was like having communication with the angelic beings, and that didn't really go over well. And my sister, when I told her, she was the one person that was like, she was activated the second I told her, and she's been on her own spiritual journey since. And so it's really fun to have her in my life. And, I was talking about this in my most recent talk. What I did, I remember sitting on my knees and praying to God and being like, if this is what I'm supposed to do, I need support. I need like-minded people, and I need help. And what happened was these events started to show up. And so I knew it was like I was seeing them, and they were jumping off the page to me. And I did not care about the expense or the travel. I knew I needed to get myself in these groups and start connecting. And that's what I did. I spent almost an entire year just traveling, going on retreats, training, like getting in the groups of spiritual people. And now I have tons of spiritual friends.
Awesome. It's exciting and enlightening for yourself. And it feels so good when you know that you have, a very lighthearted, light fulfilling message for people, like even your family, and they kind of just either just accept it or catch on, right? And what happened with your sister, like I'm sure that's happened with a ton of your friends or even acquaintances that are like, okay, what's she up to? Like, let's like read this, right? So I know that you said that, you having communication with angels and all that kind of thing is still relatively new to you in your whole life journey. And in your book, I do believe you talk about the archangels and those guys. How has that been? How has that transition into having communication with them been to not having communication with them before?
Oh my gosh, it's like amazing, because what you don't realize is, and we all have access to this. It's, it's kind of like playing the piano. Some people can just sit down and just play the piano. Some people need a few lessons and they're ready to go. And some people need 5-10 years, of piano lessons. So we all have the capability to tune into this. And it's, I teach people how to develop their intuition, and with my clients, they're always amazed. I was on the phone earlier with a client, and she was like, I can't tune in. I was like, yeah, you can. I walked her through a meditation, and she got her own messages. And I was like, see? And she was like, oh my gosh. So it really is almost like you have this support, like this new level of support that you've always had and you've maybe felt at a certain level. But once you start to acknowledge it and to really invite it in, it's like it really gives you so much power. And it's a safety. Like it's like sometimes you do think you're going crazy. I'm not gonna lie about that. Like I'll have to be like, wait a minute. Sometimes you start to, and you have to really ground yourself. We are living on this planet, and we are here in physical bodies, and so it's really important to learn the balance. But it's also a really beautiful way to check in and to get guidance, and to develop this relationship with your divine team.
Yeah, it's like they always have your back. How are you, this is kind of like off topic, but I just kind of thought of it as we're going along. How are you affected by the injustice of the world, and what do you kind of do to help you personally kind of keep grounded, keep leveled out, and really just kind of keep spreading that light, like even internally, right?
Yeah. I don't watch the news because I can't, like it's toxic, and the media, unfortunately, really most of the time shifts things in a negative light. And I believe what you focus on grows. So I'll on occasion turn it on for 5 minutes, or I'll scroll through some social media to be informed, because I think that's important. I think the injustice in the world right now is a call for everyone to go bigger, for everyone to stand in their power. And I think that until things get better, this is going to continue to happen. So I look at it as motivation to be louder, motivation to serve more people, motivation to bring the message that it's really, really pretty simple if everyone can just understand their worth, if everyone can just tune in to the fact that when you're born, it's your birthright to be joyful. If you have a desire in your heart, it's meant to be yours. And if people can start to just be their own advocates and advocate for themselves and demand that they're going to live a life of happiness and fulfillment and joy, that's really how you change the planet. Because happy people and people that are happy don't want to go blow up nightclubs and don't want to do all the crazy stuff that's happening right now. So I meditate every day. That really helps with protecting my energy. I do tune in. I mean, when you're tuning in to that high vibration of the angels, like it's a really beautiful thing. And when you're in that, it's hard to I don't want to say be bothered by all the low vibrational stuff happening, but it puts it in perspective and understanding that there's a divine plan, and all you can do is your part.
Thank you for that. I want to just talk about the creativity for a moment, because that reminded me, I've always had this just total inner knowing that if the whole world was able to express themselves creatively, the world would be a much more harmonious place. I mean, if you think about even people writing or doing art or whatever, people can be creative in every single way, but that expression allows you to get out whatever you need to get out, right? And I mean, there's so many places in the world where I don't think that they are being creative, and that really kind of
here in the US. I mean,
yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I don't know if a lot of the political leaders do art. I'm just Anyway,
Yeah.
but yeah, so how is creativity such an important role in your life? Like, obviously you're an author, and so you write, of course, but I'm sure you do a lot of other creative things.
Yeah, I mean, definitely writing. I believe writing is extremely therapeutic because it's extremely healing. And I'm actually about to do a 5-day challenge teaching people how to write their first book, or, you know, how to get out the fear, because everyone's scared, because I believe that we do all have a message to share. Not everyone's meant to be a writer, but there are a lot of people that want to be writers that are scared to do it. And so for me, writing, like when you're doing anything great, you're connected to the divine, you're connected to a higher power. Athletes, you know, when you see that amazing pitch from the mound, you know, someone that just really threw it, they're in the zone. That's just channeling. If you get anyone that does, Picasso was a channel. Beyonce and Adele are channels when they're on the stage. So I believe that when you channel at that level, it's really being who you are on a soul level and allowing it to come forth and bringing forth what it is that you're supposed to bring forth. So it's really powerful. And if you would have told me that I was going to write a book, like, I don't have any writing background. It's all just like naturally me tuning in and allowing a higher power to move forth, and then getting people that understand sentence structure to edit my book, really.
The channeling aspect, I know that word probably freaks a lot of people out, again, because they don't understand just what it really means. But it really just means like tuning into, you know, like getting rid of all the clutter and tuning into what you're supposed to be doing, what you're supposed to be thinking in that moment. And I know that is so important. And I think people really have to remember to do that these days, because people are so inundated with things that they should be doing, like on the internet, or like they're getting 100 emails a day with all this like how-to guides for this and that. And when they don't sit quietly with themselves and really be like, okay, like I respect this idea, but I just really want to, I feel like doing it this way because this is my way, right? Like that is when your genius is going to show up, right?
Yeah. And also when you get in your joy, you know, when you get in the play mode, like too many people in today's world think that it's like guilty. They feel guilty if they're having fun or being silly or whatever. But like, I believe the opposite. I believe like when you are silly and when you're having fun and when you're really just like, is this joyful for me? Is this going to bring me fun? And when you get in that mode, it's really when your creative channels start to open up and start to flow. And again, it's about when you're happy and when you're joyful, you're really doing a service to the planet, because your energy is contagious and that energy is spreading all around. And so it's like the bad mood energy is contagious, but so is the good mood energy. So yeah.
So true. How do you find that it's easy for you to add more magic into your life? I know we talked a little bit about that, but I mean, magic is, I feel like it's different for everybody, but yeah, I just want to know, like, how do you find that you can add more magic into your life for whether it be like gratitude or creativity or what's another one, like abundance?
Yeah, I think that what I was just saying is actually how I add more magic, is giving myself permission to play. You know, my sister got her children a trampoline for Christmas.
Nice.
And every time I go there, I bounce on that thing for hours because I'm like, A, it's good exercise, but B, I feel like a child, and it opens up like that joy. And I believe based on the law of attraction and based on a lot of the tools of manifesting, you need to be an energetic match to what it is that you want to call in. And when you're in your joy and when you're in that place of just, you know, presence and really opening up and allowing connection, because you can connect on that level too. Dancing, I love to dance. Really just quitting to take everything so freaking seriously. Like, I think we all take everything so seriously, and, you know, including me. And so I really tried to make a point to just be like, you know, not take everything so seriously and still be grounded and take action and not just expect things to fall in my lap, but to have fun and to give myself permission to laugh and to giggle.
Are you personally like a planner, or are you more of like an organic creator?
It depends. Probably like I just need to plan the time to sit down and do it, because otherwise I'll never get done. But then when I sit down, it's like, what happens to me is as I plan, like, okay, I'm going to write this, you know, X, Y, and Z, and, you know, this week, then I start to get these divine hits. Like, oh, you should write about this. Like, for example, like if I'm going to schedule a talk, then all of a sudden I'll just start getting all these ideas for what I should talk. So I pull out my phone and I put, write down on the notes, and I shelve it until I'm going to be sitting down. And then I pull out, I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. And then I start to create my talk that way.
Okay, cool. So it is relatively like organic. So you are definitely like planning creative time, but you're not like stuck in this.
No, that's really hard for anyone to create that way, I think.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit more about your book. Like, where can people get a hold of it? Is it out right now, or is there a waiting list?
Yeah, it's out. It's on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com. Some stores, they have it in there, but it's definitely anywhere on Amazon. If you just Google Musings of an Earth Angel, it'll come up. You can also go to SuzanneAdamsInc.com. I've got a really cool free gift. It's on the books tab, but there's a free gift where you get like $800 worth of meditations and workshops from Gabby Bernstein, Rebecca Campbell, a lot of today's spiritual teachers, and there's a free gift when you buy the book, and even if you just buy the $1.99 e-copy.
Awesome. Who are your favorite spiritual mentors out there?
Definitely Gabby Bernstein. Definitely Abraham Hicks. I love to listen to them. And then I dabble with Marie Forleo's stuff, Chris Carr. I love the book The Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukav. Adoring Virtue, of course. Like you name the person, and I've studied their work.
Yeah, you have all Doreen Virtue's angel books and things like that. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. We also want to talk about really quickly you have like a retreat, or you have like an event that's happening.
Yeah. So because retreats were so powerful for me in my life. And when you go, it's a beautiful way to create sisterhood and to create community and to really get elevated and to do the type of healing and the type of expansion that you cannot do alone. Even with the biggest posse of angels that you can imagine. It's something about bringing everyone together with the intention of expansion, with the intention of owning the truth of who you are, with the intention of letting go anything that's in your way. And what happens on these retreats is so magical. So this is going to be the third one. I co-host them with my business partner, Camille Gore, who's also a very, very talented intuitive. And we're doing it in Palm Beach. It's a Thursday to Sunday meeting in Palm Beach, Florida. And it's going to be so amazing. We're going to do some beach yoga, and we're doing some Kundalini yoga. We're having a cacao ceremony. And then we're going to be just teaching principles on wealth consciousness and manifesting and deepening your intuitive powers.
And are you a believer that, it doesn't matter if a retreat goes for a day or it goes for like, a whole week or more, that people honestly really, even by osmosis, really just can transform their vibe and transform their energy just by initially being there?
Yes. I will say the time does matter a little bit, because like I give 2-hour talks and there's transformation that happens in those talks, but you can only get so far in 2 hours. The same with a day, like day workshops are amazing, but if you have like at least a 2-day event, it's like something happens with that night of sleep and then the next day, and then people are just even more open and ready to transform, because it's really up to us to open our heart. But that being said, yes, if someone came in extremely stubborn and sat there with their arms crossed and just physically sat in the room, they would get a huge up level just physically from being there.
Good. Well, I mean, it's one of those things, right? I think that people, there are always going to be a few people that think that, retreats aren't, like, it's not going to work for me or what have you. I mean, everybody has different styles of learning, of course, but if you're definitely like, if you're watching right now and you are somebody that definitely wants to just even shift, like even a few degrees over, right? And you're just having trouble making that transformation or don't even know where to start, a retreat is such an amazing push in the right direction. And you have so much support while you're there. And I'm sure people can talk to you personally as well as many other women. And that's awesome.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to check it out, they can go to cameoandsuzanne.com.
CameoandSuzanne.com. Okay, and musingsofanearthangel.com is your book site, and then Suzanne Adams Inc. is your website, and I'll put those in the notes of this video here. And I've got one last random question for you. I hope you're open to it.
Yeah.
What makes you wild and creative?
Woo! Travel, actually. I love to travel, and if I stay in the same place for too long, like, there's a balance, because I like being grounded, I like having my bed and my home and all that, but at the same time, like, my soul craves to get out and to explore, and I love the beach, and I love the ocean, and I love adventure, and that really is what makes me wild and crazy.
Awesome. That's such a awesome answer, because I think that people, they love to travel really, but they don't understand what it is or like why they are called to do it, right? Yeah. And I mean, it's such an interesting thing to be like immersed in so many different energy that isn't at home, right? So anyway, thank you so much for your time today. I know a lot of people are going to check out your book, but B, have learned a lot from just our conversation, and just hopefully, they've probably up-leveled just by listening to us today. And anyway, thank you so much. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot more of you as time goes on.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
Bye, everybody.